So let's continue by implementing our UI logic, and we will be doing that in our main activity Java class. So in our main activity Java class, this is where, as I said earlier, that once our application starts, it's called from our resources, our layout activity main.html file, that's which is this file here. And now the UI logic, it calls when we now apply the UI logic on this activity main.html file, then it calls on it on the immediately the application is started. Then it can be able to initiate the UI logic into this activity main.html file. So we have to do that here in a main activity Java. This is where we do our Java codings. So let's continue by implementing our UI logic, and it will be inside this main activity class. So what we do now is that we start by defining our layout parameters, that's which is the send button, phone number field, and the message field. Remember, we assign an ID to them. Let me check here. Where you go to the activity made SMS source code XML file, you can see this is the phone number field, and we give an ID to it, which is the ID is phone test field here, and we also give an ID to our message box message test field, and we also give an ID to our send button send button. So now we do all these things, we call them, we have to implement them into our main activity class. So we do that through the ID which we assign to them in our layout. So let's implement these parameters, these these are our three parameters. So we implement them as what we call instance variables. In Java language, you call them instance variables. So that's the way we have to implement them, and we do that here before the onCreate method. So instead of main activity, this is where we implement it. So here, let's implement them, these three parameters as instance variables. So we say button is a send button. We end the start variables. As we are getting error here, but I'll still come back to that later. So we continue. We say edit test is a phone test field. Continue. That's for now. Let's define for the message body. You say edit test also, because it is edit test field. Edit test is a message test field. We end the Instagram. So now let me go back to this error which you are getting here, these three errors which you are getting here, and you can see this thing is undefined. That is these three items here, these three instance variables, the button, edit test, and edit test for the phone test field and for the phone test field. So it's trying to tell us that they cannot be resolved to any variable. So when you put your cursor, how to detect a quick information about an error, you just take your cursor, put it on that error icon there. So it's trying to tell us that button cannot be resolved to a type. Why is this so? It's so because we have not yet imported the button into our class field, into our main activity class. We have not yet, you can see where you get the imports. So it's not yet, as you want to expand it, you see that the button and the edit test field is not yet imported into our class field. So we have to do that. We need to import it to our test field into our class, into our main activity class, before this error can go off. And the quick way to solve problems on Eclipse is whenever you got an error and it's undefined, the let me say the item that gives the error will be underlined. The item that gives the error will be underlined. You can see when you put your cursor on top of this error icon here, it will tell us that button cannot be resolved, and this button is talking about it underlying the button. And when we put it also here, it tells you edit text field cannot be resolved. You can see edit text cannot be resolved to a type, so you also underline the edit text. So whenever you get error in Eclipse, it will underline the particular source that gives the error, the particular item that gives the error, for you to start knowing how you can resolve these errors. So now let's resolve this error. There is two ways you can do this error. There are almost three ways you can resolve these errors. One is by, since how to identify and resolve this error is trying to tell us that it cannot be resolved to a type, which means it's not in our main activity class. So it cannot be resolved in a type. It's not there, and it should have an import that backs up these three items here. So what you have to do is you have to organize an import. We do that through the keyboard by using Ctrl+Shift+O, or you quickly take your go to under source. You find the organize imports in the source tab, or you take your cursor under the underlined, take it on top of the underlined item that gives the error. You can see button is underlined, that is the error, is underlined with red color. It will give you a quick suggestion. You can see 6 quick fix available. So what you do is that you can see suggestion here is trying to tell us that let's import the button. That is the first option there, import the button. So you can see there are 3 options. You can resolve this error that cannot be resolved to a type. Whenever you get the error that cannot be resolved to a type, that means something is missing. It needs to be imported into your main activity class, or it needs to be imported into the class. So I will solve this error by using Ctrl+Shift+O on my keyboard. You can, as I said, you can use Ctrl+Shift+O on your keyboard, or you take your cursor on top of the item that gives the error, then organize an import, or you go to your source code, source tab, and then organize an import. So I use Ctrl+Shift+O. You can see the item is now imported into our class, main activity class, and you can see the error warning there is off. Let me minimize import field, so you can see we don't have any other error. So now let's initiate these instance variables into our onCreate method, so that they will be called each time and every time our application is created, or each time our application is launched. So what I mean by let's initiate it into our onCreate method, here is our onCreate method. And you understand that as I said, that whenever our application is launched, it calls from our resources, then under our layout activity main.xml file, which is our layout. So now let's insert these 3 instance variables into our onCreate method, so that they will work together immediately our application is launched. So we do that inside our onCreate method. Before the closing tag, here is the closing tag for it, and here is the opening tag for it. So before the closing tag, which is here, we expand the field so we can include implement it into our onCreate method. So let's start with the message field. We say we are trying to implement it into our onCreate button method. So we say message text field, is an edit text. Then we try to call it with the ID which we assign to it on our layouts. Remember, as I said, is working with it. We are trying to do the UI logic, so we have to call it from our layouts. As I said, we applied an ID to it while we try to create it on layout. So we now use this ID which we did to import it or to include it into our onCreate method. So we say that message field, which is the ID which you get to it, inside variables which you get to it, and edit text is a message field. Is a message text field. So we say message text field is an edit text. So now let's include it let's draw it from our layout. So we say find view by ID, let's find it by ID because it's a view. So we say find view by ID from our resources r.id message text field. So we close it. So we continue. Let's do for the send button. So we say send button is a button. Then let's call it from the layout. So we say find view by ID. I use control space for quick suggestion instead of typing a long word. So find view by ID from our resources ID send button. So let's do for the font text field. So we say again font text field is an edit text. Find view by ID from our resources with ID font text field. Alright, so now we have succeeded in including these our three instance variables into our onCreate method. The next thing is that since we are trying to create an SMS sending application, I would like to say we are creating an SMS sending application. So in Android, when you try to create an application that has to deal with the ability to send SMS, there are two approaches to that. There are two approaches to that. One is you're using the SMS manager to send SMS, the SMS manager, and the other is using the built-in intent to send SMS. The other one first is using the SMS manager, then the second one is using the built-in intent to send SMS. Whenever you are trying to create an application that has to deal with the ability to send SMS or to send out SMS, there are two approaches to that. You can conclude it by using an SMS manager or using a built-in intent to manage your SMS application. So by using the SMS manager to manage your SMS application, it will now manage the SMS operations, such as sending data to the mobile device. Understand? When you are trying to use the SMS manager, it will manage the operations such as like sending data to mobile device. Then, when trying to use that of inbuilt intent to send SMS, it will call the inbuilt or the built-in SMS functionality. That is the inbuilt the functionality that is already built into the device. It will not call on it whenever the user decides to send an SMS because it's already built into the device. So it will now call on it whenever a user tries to send an SMS using the built-in intent. So in this tutorial, we will be using that of the built-in intent. We'll be using that of built-in intent to manage our SMS application. So now For us to continue using the built-in tent to manage your SMS application, we need to create a method for that, and you need to create a method like the one like this on create method which you have here. We need to create a method for that, and we will name this method send method. Yeah, but it will be outside this on create method because we are done with this on create method, but it's still inside our main activity class. So outside the after the closing tag of the onCreate method, how you can quickly identify which closing tag is for a particular method. You just take your cursor on top of that closing tag. To give you a quick hint, this is a closing tag for the method onCreate. So let's create a, as I said, let's create a method for our built-in intent. So we say, for us to create a method, we say public void with the name send is a view. We're getting an error here, it cannot be resolved to a type. So we organize and import Control Shift O, so we can import view. When you check on our import, you see view is now imported. Alright, so inside is our send method. Let's get the phone number for the phone number test field. Let's get it from our phone number test field. Let's retrieve the phone number that the user inputted into our phone number test field. Let me just go to graphical layouts. So whenever a user types in a phone number here, let's retrieve it. Let's call it from the main activity class. So that's where we call the phone number. So inside here, inside our method, this is opening tag, this is the closing tag. So inside this our method, we have to call that. So we say a string. We'll be using string to call on the phone number. So say string phone. Our string name is phone number. That's what I'll be using. We use a string to call on the phone number. So you say I give my string name, if I use phone number as my string name. So I say string is my string is phone number. Then from the phone test field, then get the test. Get test. That's what we use to call on any input made on the phone video. So you say get test. Then when we get the test, we need to post it to our string. So get test to string. So now you are getting a warning here. It's trying to, with this warning, what this warning is trying to tell us that this our string is not yet used somewhere else. Is not yet used. So when I put my cursor on it, it says try to tell us that the value of the local variable phone number is not used. But we still come to that, we still have to use it. We will use it later. So now let us to retrieve that of the message which the user inputted into the message box. So we use string to do that too. String string is message is equals to message test field, and from the test field message test field, so now get test. We get the test, we tag it to string, to a string, Remember, I'm using quick solution because I don't have to type on all this thing. So now it's trying to tell us also that our local variable message is not used somewhere else. It's not yet used, so we implement that later. So now let's verify to make sure that the user did not leave any of the field empty, as I said. So whenever the user leaves any of the field empty, then we try to post a warning to it. So all the fields are required. You should not leave any of the fields empty, including the message field. So for us to verify this, we say if phone number field, that is, now we are trying to use this our string. Understand? We created a string for our phone number, and we now link this our string to the phone number text field. So we will now use the instruction, say telling our application that if our string is empty, post a warning. So you say phone number if phone number length is greater than 0, allow. Phone number string is greater than 0, yeah. So we do that also for the message button. Say and sorry, and it is also out of that of the message body. Say also that message with the message length, we are using our strings here, is greater than 0, allow. But if not, tell the user, hey, you're trying to do something stupid. All right. Yeah, we're getting it, but we're not yet through. We need to call the inbuilt SMS manager to manage these activities here. So for us to call in the inbuilt SMS manager to manage our activities here, so we say pending intent, because it's an intent. So we say pending intent. We give it a name PI, that is pending intent, that is the name we are trying to give to it. So we say pending intent is a pending intent. A pending intent, we give it a name PI, is a pending intent. So get the activity, get our activity here. Should be getting activity. Say get this as an activity. Then our request code should be 0. Then it's a new intent. Sorry, this should be in capital letter. There's a new intent here. Your flags should not be there. We create the method inside, so we define it. So okay, this is a main activity. It's trying to get, let it get our activity. get mail activity. Mail activity dot class is a class. So we get an error here. Is structure that cannot be resolved totally. Let's do control sheet. Let's organize an import. The error is not resolved. Alright. As I said, whenever you are getting an error, you should first of all take a cursor to it to know what the error is about. So it's trying to tell us the syntax error on token. That is comma that we should delete this token. And the next thing is you can remember when we organized our imports. Actually, the intent which was underlined went off, which means that the import was organized, remaining one more error. Actually, what we are having here is two errors. Let me undo it so you can be able to see what I mean. Control Z, yeah. So I just did the undo. You can see what we are having here is two errors. When you put your cursor on the error icon, you see multiple markers at the line. One is syntax error on token, there is the token, and the other is intent cannot be resolved the type. Actually, you are having two errors on this particular line of code. So as I said, that whenever you encounter an error in your coding, your application, the quick way to fix your application, just the particular code or the particular item that is giving the error should be underlined. Just you have to take a cursor on top of the underlined word. You will see the quick fix that is available for you. So when we organize the import, why this intent was not more organized or underlined when we organize our import is because the import is not yet in our library. So what we have to do is when we have to organize an import, so you can organize the import here. See the intent is no more underlined, remaining one more error. So how will I fit this one more error remaining? Just you can see the one more error is on the line at the comma. So we take our cursor there again. It's trying to tell us this is not the proper way. This should not be here. So it's trying to tell us that syntax error on top of that we should delete this. So when we delete this, it should not be as a typographical error. So we delete it. You can see there our error will be resolved. So now, but leaving us with a warning icon, and it's trying to tell us that pi local variable is not yet used. We'll still come back to that. So let's continue. Let's define our SMS manager. We are not yet through. So for us to call on our SMS manager, we say SMS. SMS. Should start with capital letter. So say SMS manager is an SMS equals to SMS manager. Yeah, we just use the quick suggestion, that is control space bar. Then let's get the inbuilt SMS manager. So you say dot get default SMS manager, right? So now we are having a warning here too that our local variable SMS is not yet used. So let's continue. But what I will do now is that I will try to implement the function for user to send SMS and also to toast the message to the user once the SMS is successfully sent. So I will do two functions now. I'll try to implement the function of sending SMS and also toasting a message to the user once the SMS is successfully sent. Then I'll still come back to that of toasting a message an error message to user if you encounter a problem. Maybe the user leaves one of our bus here empty, either the phone bus area or the message bus area. So we still come back to that, but I'll just implement the function of sending the SMS now and also toasting a successful sent message to the user. So I'll continue now. Let me use my local variable SMS, which is giving us warning, and also I'll also use this local variable pending intent. So I will say SMS manager, no, SMS dot send should be, yes, send text message. Yeah, send this message to phone number. That is the phone number. This should be, I think we should leave this here. CRS should be null, should be empty. You say no, yeah, should be empty. Then the message from the, I'm just using this strings which I define here. And so when I come to the that of the phone number, I use the string which I define for the phone number. When I come to text, I use the string which I define for the text. So send intent, and I'll be now using our intent which I define here. This is our intent. I will be going with the SMS manager. So I'll say intent delivery intent should be null. Alright, so now I've done that of sending SMS. Let me toast a successful sent message to the user. I'll say toast dot sent message. That is the name of my toast. Toast, make a test. Make a test. The test should be, well, first of all, you get the application get base contest. The message should be, let me just create my own message here. I don't have to use that of the message created by the user on the message box. So we say message will be your SMS is successfully sent. Yeah, so this will be message that will be displayed to the user. So the duration is trying to ask you the duration, how long am I going to stay on the screen, how long am I going to display this message to the user. So that's what the duration. So yeah, let's define the duration. So for us to there are two options. Either use the for the message to display a long time on the screen or for short. So there's a way to display it. Say toast dot length or short length. Long is for allow the message to display for a long time on the screen. Then short is around to display for a short time on the screen. So I'll be using short. Then I'll end it, but I have to let the SMS display. So I've not yet concluded. I have to tell the toast to display. So I'll say with with our toast name, I'll say send message sorry, we are getting an error here. Sorry, this is not a variable, so I'm just defining the name. It should not be a variable. I just mistakenly put the dot here. Is when I'm trying, when you have to try and define a variable, that's when you put it dot. So now I have to instruct my toast with the name to show. And while the toast is just like this, it won't show to the user. So you have to instruct the toast to show. So it's trying to tell us again that sent local variable is not yet used. Is a local variable or not a? So I'll say with the name, with my toast name, so I'll say send message show. Alright, so now I've successfully implemented the function for the SMS, for the user to send SMS and also toast a message to the user once the SMS is successfully sent. So all I'm doing, I will just trying to run this particular code we have done so far on the emulator, so I can be able to show you what this toast is all about. You click on the run button, then save whatever changes which I've made to your coding. So here, you save, so you can reinstall application to our emulator. So our app is now successfully installed into our emulator. So let's check our emulator and see what we have done so far. Alright, so here is our application, our SMS application, and this is what you have done so far. So let me try to test run our app to see if it can do much. Actually, this is an Android emulator, is not a mobile device, so you cannot be able to send the actual SMS, but you can be able to test run your application. So, but it has to deal with some certain service codes. So now let me test run the app. As I said, like if you are meeting some service code which is supposed to be running with your application, your emulator can be able to give you a warning in this kind of view, because actually this is SMS app and you may be thinking that we can use it to send an SMS. Actually you cannot, because it's not a mobile device, it doesn't have any mobile network on it, so you cannot be able to work or to send SMS, but it can be able to give you some functions or error information about your application, but you cannot be able to send SMS. So like what I mean about this, some giving you error about some certain service code that is missing in your application, where you try to utilize the application in normal way, how it will be utilized on the mobile device, is that like if I click on this send button in previous times when I launched this application on the emulator, before we did the logic, the UI logic, I click on the send button, our application crashed. It crashed because we have not yet implemented the UI logic, but now we have implemented the UI logic. I'm trying to click on send button to know whether our application will crash. So you can see I clicked on the send button, the application did not crash, but unfortunately in some part it has to crash. You can see our application, we didn't get the toast, the send successful toast, that is the toast which should be shown to the user once the SMS is sent successfully. We didn't get it because no field, the fields are empty. It's supposed to get text from, as we did in restraint, instructed it to get string text from this phone text field and also the message text field to get the context in order to be able to send SMS. So let me try to input a phone number. I just say 0, just trying to test run the app. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 here, and then let me just try to send SMS. Still I didn't get the server toast SMS, the server toast to the user. I didn't get it. Then let me try to input a message, and the message birthday. Alright, then let me click the send button to know whether I can get the cost. Alright, so you discover immediately when I tried clicking on the send button before, when I have not yet inputted anything on the phone or in any of the field, the application didn't crash. But immediately when I just inputted the phone number and a number in the phone number test field and also a message, I put a phone number in the phone number test field. I clicked on send, it didn't crash. The one I completed the field, both inputted on the phone number text field and putting on the message text field and clicked on send, our application crashed. Why did it crash? It crashed for some certain reasons, and also it crashed without showing the toast. Now, as I say that our application our emulator can be able to give you some certain errors about our application, our SMS application. Since it's not able to send the SMS, it can give you an error. For the application to be crashing, it shows that something is missing in our application. That is a service code which is not available. So let me close this and I'll go back. And this service code would be that we didn't assign a permission to our application. I will still come back to that later, but let's conclude with the creation of our application. We have done that of sent message. The toast code should be shown to the user once the SMS is sent successfully. Then let's do that of to check on the phone test field and message test field to check if the field is empty. If it's empty, it should toast a message to the user. So now let's work on the data of the error message that will be toasted to the user once any of the field is empty. So in order to do that, okay, outside our if block, this is the closing tag for if block, but inside our send method we say else, that is else if any of the field is empty. So we say else alright, we say toast dot make test get base context test. Let's put in the test. The test will be, let's try to tell the user that all field is required. So our test should be all field are required. Alright, the duration should be rent short toast dot length short. Alright, then you have created that of the error for the user. What remains is, even if you try to run this application, I'm sure that it will crash. Let me try to restore into our emulator and test if the application will crash. So I click on the run button, waiting for my application to restore into the emulator. You're installing to my emulator. Alright, it's now for installing to emulator. So let's check on it. Let me click on the send button. Application didn't crash. I'm trying to input the number here. Then a message here, application will crash. Yeah, application crashed. Why? We didn't assign a permission for it to send SMS, to use the SMS manager. We didn't give that permission. So You do that now. We are getting a warning here. Okay, just it's telling us we forgot to add the variable that I should show the toast. So we just give our toast a name. Sweet toast. We say empty field. Yeah, that's the name we give it, empty field. Yeah, then I instruct it with the name which we get ready to show. So empty field. Show. Oh, what can this error be about? Okay, there is no warning, just we have to save our document, our file, say Ctrl S. So now the warning should be off. Alright, let's correct out of the permission so we can be able to. Okay, now since I have added this instructing our empty field toast to show, let's install our application terminal to check if actually it will toast the message before it crashes. So I'm currently installing into our emulator. I'm this is just to know if, because we tested it before, it crashed without showing anything and the fields are empty. So I want to leave the fields blank, then try to send SMS to know if these toast will display before our application crashes. So now is currently restoring our application into the emulator. Alright, it's not successfully installed into emulator. Let me check on it. Alright. Alright, I will click on the send button to know if it will display the toast before it crashes. Alright. So now you can see our application didn't crash anymore. It didn't crash anymore because, and also it displayed the toast that all fields are required. Why it crashed before is that we didn't input the remaining variables that instructed our toast to display. So that's why it crashed. You can see the one of the importance of emulator in our Eclipse. It helps us to detect problems, also help us to test run our application in the process. So you can see now application doesn't crash anymore, and it displays the field that it displays the toast that all fields are required. Then let's try to input a number, then a message to know if the successful message will be displayed. Alright, so now you can see previously before okay, you can see our application just crashed. Why did it crash? Because we didn't add the service or we didn't give it the permission for it to use the SMS manager or the permission for it to send SMS. That's why our application crashed. But if you leave all the fields blank and click on the send button, our application doesn't crash. It displays the error toast. So now let's add the permission to our application straight away. So to do so, we go to our Android manifest.html file. You can remember all the things I said about the Android manifest.html file, where I try to explain the significant files in our project, in our package, when I'm trying to explain every significant files here. So go to Android manifest.html file. That's where we apply our permissions. So on our Android manifest.html file, under the permission tab, not on the manifest or application, under the permission tab, under the permission tab, you click on add. So what we'll be using now is not another permission or permission for group or permission tree, but we actually, our application uses this permission. Our application will be using a specific permission. Understand? So we go for uses permission and not for permissions, and not for permission tree, and not for permission group, but uses permission. That is trying to tell the device that our application will be using this permission. So when you select on it, you click OK. On the next page, it will ask you to specify your permission name and maximum SDK version, but that one is optional. But the name is very important. You have to like show or select the permission which you are requesting to use. So we are requesting to use, we'll be requesting to use a permission for sending SMS. So look, it will be Android permission around the X alphabet. So here is it. Android permission for sending SMS. Android permission send SMS. This is the permission which you'll be requesting to use. So Ctrl S, we save it. You can see your permission is now automatically added here. So when you go to Android manifest.html file, you see that it's also added to your permission list. So here is it, our permission. So when you try to save our project and try to run it again, I'm sure our application won't crash anymore. So you click on run. It's currently installing an application to the emulator. So our application is now successfully installed into our emulator. Let's check on our application on the emulator, then we'll see what we have done so far in this tutorial. Remember, as I said, this is just an Android emulator that is not connected to a network service or that uses any network operator. It's just an Android emulator, but it just functions like the operating system is more, ordinary mobile device that runs on Android operating system. So it just like is an emulator that does all the functions like your mobile device that runs on Android operating system. It just try to detect or show you what you have done so far in the application, for you to be able to test your application as you work on it. So now we have to, let me just click on the set button to know if the empty test field is still displayed. You can see it toasted the message of field that require, and if you observe, the message didn't stay long on the screen because we use the timing of length shots. So now let's try to input in all the fields. Let's try to make some input in all the fields, then know if our application will still crash again. Let me put image. Okay, let me try to send again. You see, no matter that I inputted a number in the full text field and left the message button empty, it toasted a message to the user that to me that all field is required. Actually, that you have to input something in your message body, you don't have to leave it empty. That is the essence of the toast. So let me try to complete the message button and know if our application will still crash. So I click on send. Wow, so here is it. Our application didn't crash again and it displayed the successful send toast. So you notice that immediately the SMS is sent, it will wipe everything on the screen for you to set the screen ready for sending a new SMS. So we have succeeded in creating a SMS application for Android in this our tutorial, and I look forward in the future in creating more tutorials for you guys. So all I wish for you guys to stay tuned with me and have some patience with me as I create more tutorials for you. But another thing remaining for us is to package our application and be able to export it as if our application is now ready to be exported or uploaded to Google Play Store. You can see you can just not make use of application just like this. You need to export it to the Android extension, that is Android operating system extension for installation on mobile devices .apk.